Good day, children. Today we move on to lesson 3 of Beehive, The Little Girl by Catherine Mansfield. Catherine Mansfield was a prominent New Zealand modernist short story writer and poet. Her original name was Kathleen Mansfield Murray, that is, Catherine was her pen name. Now, the short story The Little Girl is a story about the changing attitude of a girl child towards her father. Let's move on to the story. To the little girl, he was a figure to be feared and avoided. Every morning, before going to work, he came into her room and gave her a casual kiss, to which she responded with, "Goodbye, father." And oh, there was a glad sense of relief when she heard the noise of the carriage growing fainter and fainter down the long road. The first paragraph itself gives us a glimpse of the relationship that the girl had with her father. What does the first line tell you? He was a figure to be feared and avoided. That is what the little girl thought about her father. She was afraid of her father and wanted to avoid him. And every morning, before going to work, he came to her room and gave her a casual kiss. That itself shows that it was mechanical. Not she didn't feel the love. It was quite mechanical. Every day he came, gave a casual kiss, and she also responded, "Goodbye, father." And when she heard the noise of the carriage going fainter and fainter, that is, he is far away from her, she had a sense of relief. In the evening, when he came home, she stood near the staircase and heard his loud voice in the hall. "Bring my tea into the drawing room. Hasn't the paper come yet? Mother, go and see if my paper's out there, and bring me my slippers." So she, every day this is what she hears. Evening also when he comes, she gives instructions, and he had a very loud voice. So she stood near the staircase and heard this instructions every day. "Kezia," mother would call to her. So now we know the little girl's name is Kezia. "If you are a good girl, you can come down and take off father's boots." Slowly the girl would slip down the stairs, more slowly still across the hall, and push open the drawing room door. By that, so that it's the way she moved. Usually children will run to their father when they comes home, right? Small children. But here, first itself she stood near the staircase and heard a sound. Then the mother had to invite her lovingly. "If you're a good girl, look at that. If you're a good girl, you can come down." Then only she came, and that too very hesitantly, very slowly. By the time she reached there, he had his spectacles on and looked at her over them in a way that was terrifying to the little girl. So the father's look was not at all loving. The girl didn't feel that love. It was almost terrifying to her. "Well, Kezia, hurry up and pull off these boots and take them outside. Have you been a good girl today?" "I don't know, father." "You don't know? If you stutter like that, mother will have to take you to the doctor." Stutter means stammer, so that she couldn't pronounce it properly, the word, right? So the father says that first he imitates her, and he asks that if you stammer like that, mother will have to take you to the doctor. She never stuttered with other people, had quite given it up, but only with father, because then she was trying so hard to say the words properly. So the reality was that she never stuttered in front of others. Earlier maybe she had that, but she had given it up. But with father, whenever she conversed with father, she stuttered because she was trying so hard to say the words properly. Out of tension, out of nervousness actually. "What's the matter? What are you looking so wretched about? Mother, I wish you taught this child not to appear on the brink of suicide." So the way she was so afraid of her father, so from the look anybody could make out that something was wrong with her. So the father himself asked, "What is the matter? What are you looking so wretched about? Wretched, unhappy. Understand, what are you unhappy about?" And he told his wife that I wish she taught this child not to appear on the brink of suicide. brink of suicide, about to commit suicide. That is the way she looks, that she is about to commit suicide. Teach her not to appear like that. Here, Kezia, carry my teacup back to the table carefully. He was so big. His hands and his neck, especially his mouth when he yawned. Yawned, you know what is it? Thinking about him alone was like thinking about a giant. Yes, yawning, you all do, right? When a class is going on, you all do that. Show that you are sleepy, you are not interested, right? So I need not explain what yawning is. So the girl explains that her father was so big, hands, neck, especially his mouth when he yawned. Thinking about him, it was almost like thinking about a giant for her. On Sunday afternoons, grandmother sent her down to the drawing room to have a nice talk with father and mother. But the little girl always found mother reading and father stretched out on the sofa, his handkerchief on his face, his feet on one of the best cushions, sleeping soundly and snoring. So the grandmother made a good effort to build a good relationship between the child and her parents. Every day, not every day, on Sunday afternoons, grandmother sent her down to have a nice talk with father and mother. Sunday, okay, a time when everybody relaxes. So that time she sent. But when the girl came down, what did she find? Mother will be reading and father lying on the sofa with handkerchief on his face, sleeping soundly. So how can she disturb? That picture is shown. She sat on a stool, gravely watched him until he woke and stretched and asked the time, then looked at her. So she went down, sat on a stool, so gravely means in a very serious manner, sat there and watched her father till he woke and stretched and asked the time and then looked at her. Don't stare so, Kezia. You look like a little brown owl. One day, when she was kept indoors with a cold, her grandmother told her that her father's birthday was next week and suggested she should make him a pincushion for a gift out of the beautiful piece of yellow silk. Pincushion, if not, you just check the image of pincushion, you will understand. The bed, a cushion bed on which you hold pins. Laboriously, with a double cotton, the little girl stitched 3 sides. So as per her grandmother's instructions, she made it. But what to fill it with? That was the question. The grandmother was out in the garden and she wandered into mother's bedroom to look for scraps. So she made the cushion and she had to fill it with something, right? She didn't know what to do. And the grandmother was not nowhere near. So she wandered into mother's bedroom to look for scraps. Scraps meaning is given there. Small pieces of cloth or paper that are not needed. On the bed table, she discovered a great many sheets of fine paper, gathered them up, tore them into tiny pieces and stuffed her case. Then sewed up the 4th side. Sewed up means stitched up. So she had her work done. She saw some papers on the bed table, took it, tore it in pieces and stuffed it. That night, there was a hue and cry in the house. Hue and cry, angry protest. Father's great speech for the port authority had been lost. Rooms were searched, servants questioned. Finally, mother came into Kezia's room. Kezia, I suppose you didn't see some papers on a table in our room? Oh yes, she said. I tore them up for my surprise. So see how innocent the child is. I saw it and I tore it. What? Screamed mother. Come straight down to the dining room this instant. This instant means this minute. Okay, come down. And she was dragged down to where father was pacing to and fro, hands behind his back. Pacing to and fro means walking up and down. Well, he said sharply. Mother explained. He stopped and stared at the child. Did you do that? No, she whispered. Mother, go up to her room and fetch down the damn thing. See that the child's put to bed this instant. Crying too much to explain, she lay in the shadowed room watching the evening light make a sad little pattern on the floor. Then father came into the room with a ruler in his hands. A ruler is a straight strip or cylinder of plastic, wood or metal or any other rigid material typically marked at regular intervals, and it is usually used to draw straight lines or to measure distances. So the father came into the mother was asked to take the child in to make her go to sleep, and she couldn't sleep. She was lying on her bed. Then the father came with a ruler. "I am going to beat you for this," he said. "Oh, no, no," she screamed, hiding under the bedclothes. He pulled them aside. "Sit up," he ordered, "and hold out your hands. You must be taught once and for all not to touch what does not belong to you." "But it was for your birthday." Down came the ruler on her little pink palms. Hours later, when grandmother had wrapped her in a shawl and rocked her in the rocking chair, the child clung to her soft body. "What did God make fathers for?" she sobbed. So she couldn't understand. Her image of father itself was quite different, quite frightening. In addition to that, she made a gift for her father. She even told her that it was for your birthday I did it, but father didn't listen. He bet her. So she couldn't contain that. "Here is a clean hanky, darling. Blow your nose. Go to sleep, pet. You'll forget all about it in the morning." I tried to explain to father, but he was too upset to listen tonight. So from that it's very clear that what he lost was something very important for him from his professional side. So he couldn't. And another thing is that he wanted the girl to learn that lesson. He makes it very clear, right? Once and for all, you should know that you should not touch what does not belong to you. So maybe he did it deliberately. He gave her a beating. But the grandmother tries to console the child. But the child never forgets. Next time she saw him, she quickly put both hands behind her back, and a red color flew into her cheeks. Why would she have done that? Putting both hands behind her back? She's reminded of how he bet her. The McDonald's lived next door. McDonald's is not the burger shop, or what do you say? It's the name of a person. Okay. The McDonald's family lived next door. They had 5 children. Looking through a gap in the fence, the little girl saw them playing tag in the evening. Tag is a children's game of catching one another. The father, with the baby mom on his shoulders, 2 little girls hanging onto his coat pockets, ran round and round the flower beds, shaking with laughter. Once she saw the boys turn the hose on him, and he tried to catch them laughing all the time. So she watched that, how another person, her father of 5 children, how he was playing with the children, how they were enjoying, they were laughing, the father was laughing along with the children. That was something new to her. Then she decided there were different sorts of fathers. That made her realize that all fathers are not the same. There are different types. Okay, we'll stop here today. We'll have the next session in the next audio. Thank you, children.